you, Anna. Like Anna explained, I am going to go through the aftermath of the groupthink that led into the Ford Pinto explosions. To begin with, after years of investigations, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration advised the Federal Motor Vehicle Standard Rule number 31. They revised it to say that fuel systems on passenger cars have to be safe from rupture in collisions of 30 miles an hour, according to Douglas Birch's 1994 book, The Ford Pinto Case. Starting in 1997, Ford did actually begin to make the new Pintos to these standards, but it wasn't until 1978 that they were forced to recall all 1.5 million Ford Pintos. So the recall, Ford agreed to it on June 9, 1978 for all of their Pintos made in 1971 to 76. Each car was to receive a new fuel tank filler neck that extended deeper into the tank to prevent it from breaking in a crash, and also 2 plastic shields between the differential and the tank, and then 1 to deflect contact with the right rear shock absorber. No information is available on the recall costs, though, although I do have an article from Consumer Affairs dated December 1st, 1982. The article is entitled The Economics of the Pinto Recall by Rachel Dardis and Claudia Zent. There they actually approximate the total recall money was approximately $14 million. That includes $87,000 to send mailings out, letting people know that their car is being recalled, $5.913 million in parts, $5.209 million in labor, and then another $3.05 in time. Also, when it comes to monetary losses, we have 117 lawsuits that were brought against Ford, with an unknown total again, this time due to many being settled quietly out of court, according to Robert Sharafian's Automotive News article on June 16, 2003. From that same article, in Grimshaw versus Ford Motor Company, $128 million was awarded by a California jury to a family of a boy who had burned 90% of his body and whose mother had been killed in a crash that resulted in their Pinto bursting into flames. At this point, this was the largest settlement ever. Now, during this time, Lee Iacocca was president of Ford Motor Company, and his autocratic leadership and unwillingness to let safety derail his plans for the production of the Pinto caused him to be fired a month after the Ford Motor Company agreed to the recall on July 13, 1978. Although, according to Diana Karupko's June 16, 2003 article in Automotive News, Mr. Iacocca stated that there was a power struggle with Henry Ford II, and it had nothing to do with the Pinto debacle. There are two other men who are known by name to have been brought up safety concerns at Ford at this time. Harvey Kopp, who was the head of Ford's crash testing team, he was rumored to actually have been forced into retirement, and right after that, he decided to actually testify in the Grimshaw versus Ford case against Ford, stating that the highest level of Ford's management made the decision to go forward with and continue production of the Ford Pinto, knowing that there was a risk of the gas tank igniting on impact. According to Matthew Scarola's May 29, 1981 article on the Harvard H2O Law website. He spent the rest of his career as an automotive safety consultant, working both with the government and automotive companies to create safer cars. The other was Lou Tubman, a Ford engineer who was cited in the original article titled Pinto Madness by Mark Dowie in the September-October 1977 issue of Mother Jones magazine. Lou tried to get someone higher up in the Ford Corporation and even set up meetings to let them know about the safety issues, and nobody was willing to hear that. We don't know what happened to him, but the lack of information about him leads me to believe that he probably just faded away. We also have a criminal investigation. Ford Corporation became the first American corporation ever to be indicted on criminal homicide charges in 1979 after 3 girls died in what witnesses claimed was a relatively low-speed rear collision, according to page 46 of Gail Barra's 2006 book, Engineering Ethics and Industrial Perspective. So on August 10, 1978, 3 teenage girls were in a 1973 Pinto. They were rear-ended by a van and they were killed. The state of Indiana decided that they were going to criminally charge Ford. It was a landmark case, and the only thing that they suffered from that was their reputation, because Ford Motor Company did not get indicted. They won the case, and so according to an engineering.com article entitled Ford Pinto by an unknown author, just named The Engineer, posted on October 24, 2006, thought Ford was acquitted of reckless homicide in March of 1980, and the Pinto's reputation, though, had never recovered, and production was halted soon after the trial. Ford's reputation also suffered for years, and according to the same article, the Ford Pinto case is mentioned in most business ethics texts. So now I'm going to turn this over to Alexandra, and she is going to tell you ways that we can prevent groupthink and corporate culture from resulting in other tragedies just like these.